Greetings, this is Vespasian and my trusty sidekick. Today I'm going to be showing you our Vikings. These are the only figures we've managed to paint up so far.
But Christmas is coming.
But Christmas is coming and the goose is already fat. In fact, it's probably been slaughtered and stuck in the freezer somewhere. So these are the Vikings. Now the Viking shields, as you can see, I'll start with the shields first. The Viking shields are all different types of shields, all nicely personalised. Thing is, we don't really know what Viking shields were like. We've got inscriptions that the Vikings made themselves, showing swirly patterns and things on the shields. But we don't.
That's probably just what they think it would be.
Well, no, because those are made by people who were there. So you can pretty much guess that the Vikings were very individual on their shield designs. I happen to quite like doing the multiple different shields as opposed to the way I've done the Saxons, which I'll do another video on. Yeah, so we know some of the shield designs that the Vikings used because they're actually recorded, but we really don't know much else about them. The Viking shields were big 90 centimetre shields. 90 centimetres, is that right?
Don't we know?
I think it was.
Maybe shield. Maybe shield.
They had a brass or iron boss in the middle, and they had tape around the edge, sinew around the edge, holding the shield together. They were also covered with leather. So they had a wooden shield with wooden planks and then leather over the top, and then they painted the leather. Normally the shields would be covered in a shield cover, just like Roman times you had a waterproof cover to go over your shield, and you only actually took your shield out of it when you were going to fight a battle. It's a way of showing that you meant to fight. So the Romans always walked around with their shields covered until they were going to actually fight, and then they took the covers off. Yeah, so I basically decided to do the shields this way with all different sort of designs, and I think they look quite good. I'll go on for uniform next. The Vikings didn't go in for uniform particularly.
It doesn't look like it at all, yeah.
However, I need to put a few things in order. The Vikings, we know what clothes the Vikings wore because we have elements of clothing that were preserved, and we also know what people wrote. So we know they wore lots of bright, bold colours. The posh Vikings did anyway, the ones who could afford armour. And these Vikings I have done all in those colours. However, I should also point out that Vikings wore identical shields, identical weapons, identical armour, identical helmets. They were a uniform army. Also, all the light infantry and medium infantry, the guys who didn't wear chainmail, were in leather jerkins, which would have been the same colour simply because they're leather jerkins. The Viking main infantry themselves wore all their nice posh clothing, as you would expect, but they also wore a leather coat over the top of it. Leather? A halberd. What's it made out of?
What?
It's really thick cotton, actually, isn't it?
What would be cotton?
Yeah, it's thick cotton in different layers with different bits of material in between, which is quite tough and strong. Then they wore the chainmail over the top, and
like chainmail.
Chainmail, yeah.
So basically, you're basically wearing two layers of
You're wearing two suits of armour. Yeah, you're wearing your halberd, your woven cotton, which is very thick, and tests on the actual stuff up in Norway have shown that spears don't go through it. It's pretty robust stuff. So you can sort of spear at a guy wearing a leather armour, and it actually won't penetrate his skin.
What's the centre iron bolt for?
Well, it's where your hand holds the shield. The boss in the middle of the shield is your hand actually goes inside that and holds the shield. It was also handy because it could be used as a weapon. You could punch someone with your shield with a big iron boss.
Knock them out.
Yeah, so it's like knuckle dusters but bigger. So you could actually punch someone in the face with your shield and it would break their face. They weren't designed for fun, these things. They were actually designed to kill people. Yeah. So as I said about the cotton, all the Vikings wore this undergarment over the top of their normal clothing and then had chainmail over the top. So I did seriously toy with the idea of painting all the Vikings with the same colour sort of jacket underneath their chainmail, and then you'd only see the trousers and maybe a little bit of the undergarment sticking out from the bottom of it. However, I did a test with 6 Vikings and they looked like they were in uniforms. So from the rear, all the Vikings looked like they were Roman auxiliaries. And they didn't really look Viking-y in a way. So I still have a few. I'll take them out. I will explain the basing in a second. I still have a few. You see the white there, how he's white, and there's a few others. There's 6 of them altogether somewhere. I think I added some colour to him.
What do you mean by white?
The actual clothing underneath. So I went over them and I painted some of them green, some of them red, as opposed to white. So yeah, that was a bit of a sticky wicket when I was designing these guys. And yeah, it was a sticking point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something I was kind of hung up on. Yeah, I'm still toying with the idea as to what to do about that.
Okay, so we've explained the soldiers. What about command?
Right, the command. Well, this is basically a Jarl. Jarl, or Earl, is a leader of men, a commander who is loyal to a particular king, a high king, or a high Jarl. Generally the Jarls were elected, generally. They would say, I want to be in charge, and if everyone else agreed, then he was in charge. If they didn't agree, there would usually be a fight, which the Vikings really enjoyed doing, so they probably disagreed just for the principle of having a good punch-up.
And whoever came out the best of beating up people
became king, yeah.
Became,
Yeah. Although...
and lived in a big long house.
Being smart was also handy. You didn't have to be a tough fighter to be Jarl. You could be smart and crafty. There was a guy who was a dwarf, and he had his legs, he had a disease which meant his bones broke. They called him Broken Bones or something. What do they call? Oh, what's his name?
Who is it?
Boneless. They called him Boneless. Ivan the
happened to
Boneless. No, he lived a long and happy life. His soldiers actually carried him into battle on a shield because he couldn't walk.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And he never died.
He didn't die, no.
I don't know how he didn't die in the battlefield even though he can carry on a shield.
Because some really big hairy men with beards and axes are carrying you. It's easy not to die on a battlefield if you've got big hairy men with you. Yeah, that's what, if I was a Jarl, I'd definitely have large men surrounding me doing all the fighting, and I'd just go, yeah, get him, you know, at the back, behind the shield wall.
No, actually, no, you'd probably be in front.
Actually, I probably would be in the front with an axe, screaming, hitting people with it. Yeah, that's pretty safe.
And every now and again, just sit back.
Yeah, pretty much.
To relax.
I've got nothing against...
Or hide and hull.
Oh, hide and hull. Yeah. That's an interesting thing between Saxons and Vikings. I have to tell you this story. The Vikings, if you won, that was honourable. The Saxons, if you lost, it was dishonourable. Your honour Saxons are the people who brought honour to Britain, and the idea of telling the truth and being a man of honour. So if the Saxons lost a battle, their commander had to die in battle. So the commander and his soldiers would stay in the field and be hacked to death. They wouldn't retreat, they would fight to the death, the Saxons.
Which makes them...
Yeah, the Vikings had no problem with running away like a coward. They had no problem running away whatsoever. If it meant that later on, you could come back and kill the guys.
Live to fight for another day.
Live to fight another day. So their sense of honour was different to Saxon honour. And one Viking Jarl hid while his men had been slaughtered in a hole on the moor. If you live in Yorkshire, there's places where there's little streams and rivers, and there's tiny little, not caves, but holes in the ground that you can crawl into. and people used to do that for fun on weekends. I know because I did, and I didn't enjoy it because I got wet all the time. Sometimes you have to actually swim underwater in these things, and it's pitch black. It's not fun.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this ages ago.
Yeah. We used to do that a lot.
You have to grab your teacher's feet from the sea because it was so
Yeah,
dark down
literally,
there.
it was so dark. Even with a lamp on your head, you got a lamp on your head.
And
and
the
a lamp.
water was up to all the way up to your stomach.
Yeah, you're always in water. You're always wet. It's not fun. Anyway, this guy is meant to be slaughtered. This guy sneaks off, probably saying, "I need a pee," and he sneaked off, and he crawled into one of these holes. The Saxons killed all the Vikings, searched the area, couldn't find anyone else, and
The
went home.
Saxons were more trained than Vikings.
Oh yeah, Saxons were a professional army. And this Viking Jarl climbed out of the hole, ran back to his camp and said, "Hey, I survived, I hid in a hole." And everyone went, "Hooray!" See, if a Saxon would have gone, "Hey, if all my men died, but I survived by hiding in a hole," they'd have cut his head off. So there's a big difference between how you fight. But anyway, I will now get on to basing, which is another thing. When we first showed you the first figures we had, we've done a few bases up, and we based them to the way we based our Romans for Hail Caesar. We have, however, had a change of idea because, we based them on these rather nice little bases, like this. And the bases come with bases. And you can slot your figures in and take them out. This is going to be very handy for when we're doing fighting in different terrain and stuff, and on boats you can actually take your troops out and fight with them. And also when a unit gets disordered, you can just remove one figure and place a disorder marker representative on the base. Whereas with our Romans, we have a dead wounded Roman that you put behind the base to show that it's disordered. These you can actually put a wounded Viking on, and I think that's going to be quite cool.
Yeah.
So there are bases. You can get them from eBay. They cost, it's about £3 for 3, I think, or £4 for 3, something like that.
£1.20 for one.
Is it £1.20 for one? Right, there you go. I thought we bought these in 3s, but I might be wrong.
You do, but some people sell it just in ones.
Yeah, you can buy them individually, or you can buy them in huge packs. You can also buy these separate to the bases. If you want some additional bases for disorder markers and stuff, then
just buy them anywhere.
Yeah, you buy £1 for 25 or something.
They're pretty cheap when you just get the single bases.
Yeah.
Cheap, and you get lots of them.
Yeah. And this is a command base, which is also actually a heavy weapon base, I believe, which we're using as a command base, and it has two holes for the commander to stand. So that's where the commander goes. It's good because you can interchange the what the makeup is of the unit, and you can use it for skirmishing. So have we covered everything we need to know?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. We've explained the command base.
Yes.
Which is like that. And that's pretty much everything about the command, isn't it? And pretty much everything about soldiers.
Yeah, all my command bases are themed. I'll just give you a quick preview of the Saxon before I do the video on them. That's the Saxon command base.
Yep.
And there's a dead Saxon on it. And so yeah, there's lots of things you can do with them. And this one I've got a shield of a defeated enemy and a broken spear to show that the enemy has been beaten by the glorious Vikings. So there you go, Vikings. We live in a Viking town.
Do we?
Yeah, Varmvad is the name of our town in Viking.
Alright.
Viking town. Any town with by at the end of it, or Val, is basically a Viking town. Any town with farm at the end of it is Saxon.
Cool.
So there you go. So basically we have 3 types of towns in
What would
Britain.
Emmerdale be?
Made up.
If it was actually real.
Dale, Viking.
Alright.
Yeah. So, but mind you, the geographical area, it would be right.
Yeah.
What?
Battery's low. Really low.
Well, that's typical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So yes, next I will show you my Saxons, which should be quite interesting. So, please tune in for that. I hope you like the Vikings. As I said, I am still dallying a little bit over the uniforms, and if anyone wants to leave a comment, I don't want the Vikings to look uniform, that's the problem. And if I stick to be historically accurate, I'm afraid they do start to look like they're wearing uniforms. And other than the shields being different, it is quite awkward. Because I want my Vikings to look like your traditional view of Vikings. Unfortunately, the traditional view of Vikings isn't exactly accurate.
So leave a like.
Yes, please leave a like and click subscribe and leave any comments.
And we'll answer them in a Q&A.
Yeah, we'll put them in a Q&A. This has been Vespasian and my trusty sidekick and my Vikings! Which is gone.
And my Saxons.
Oh yeah, well your Saxons are next.
Yay.
Yay.
See ya.
See ya.